Well, Brian, wild horses are a symbol of the West, and a lot of people agree the population needs to be controlled both for the well-being of the animals and for the land. Now, one program to help control population marks its first anniversary, and as the I-Team's Vanessa Murphy reports, some hope it can replace a controversial method used by the federal government.
This is birth control for horses. Volunteers dart PZP, or immunocontraception. Advocates say it's the more humane and cheaper alternative to roundups by the Bureau of Land Management.
Probably the biggest challenge that we have for the management of wild horses today is the ability to embrace change.
Greg Hendricks is the director of field operations with the American Wild Horse Campaign. He oversees the Fertility Control Program, a partnership with the Nevada Department of Agriculture on an area called the Virginia Range up north. This is one of the few herds in the Silver State controlled by Nevada, not the federal government. April marks a year for the program.
It is the biggest fertility control program in the world, and that has to do with horses. And so we have darted over 980 horses in a year. That's unprecedented. Nobody's ever done that.
Here's how it works. Volunteers are at it every day, observing the horses, darting them, and keeping track of each one in a database. He says the dart is similar to getting a shot in your arm and it falls out. The plan is to dart a horse once a year, and Hendricks says after the 5th year, they likely don't need it again. But most of the wild horses in Nevada are controlled by the federal government, and the BLM continues with roundups, hiring contractors and keeping many horses in corrals unless they're adopted. At a more recent roundup in Nevada from February, more than 1,700 horses captured, 24 died. Hendricks says he worked for the BLM in 1979, and roundups were happening back then.
It's still a violent thing. You're running horses at a high speed into a trap with a helicopter, and so there's usually some injuries and potential fatalities, and it's expensive. It costs a lot of money to round up horses with helicopters.
Hendricks says the cost of PZP is about $35 per horse. Do it for 5 years, that's $175 per animal. The budget for the BLM's Wild Horse and Burro Management Program, meaning the roundups, in 2019, $80 million, but BLM was $5 million over budget. BLM spending has been going up for years. In 2009, the budget was $40.6 million. This is taxpayer money. The overview of costs from the Congressional Research Service points to $50,000 alone to keep an animal in a facility if it's not adopted, and most aren't. In 2013, a study by the National Academy of Sciences, which had the BLM's support, pointed out horse populations are going up by 15 to 20% on land BLM manages, meaning the horses are reproducing faster and those roundups aren't working.
My thoughts on it are the BLM is taking the route that's most comfortable for them. It gives them instantaneous results, so they get horses off. But it's not a long-term fix.
The study also points out PZP is one of the most effective methods, and while the BLM had the tools for better management, it's just business as usual. A spokeswoman says for some herds, the BLM has found PZP to be effective, but she brings up challenges for Nevada. She says most of the herds here are in rugged and remote areas with little human contact, which would require more time, cost, and effort. So the BLM sticks with those roundups. Vanessa Murphy, 8 News Now.